Welcome to Paris and the 7th arrondissement, the area for art, antiques and fashion. His name is so well known all over the world that it has become a brand, or rather several brands. Karl Lagerfeld has ruled over the house of Chanel for more than 20 years, but he also sets the style for his own Elle Gallery, for Fendi and at times for H&M. He is a man of many talents, many passions, and indeed many lives. Come and meet Karl Lagerfeld. How come you have a Swedish name, Karl Lagerfeld?
Because my father's father was Swedish, but it's written differently with a T. But they left Sweden because they were Protestant and became Catholics in the 19th century. And in Sweden you could be Jewish and everything you wanted except Catholic.
Except Catholic.
They hated Catholic. And when my father married my mother, who also was divorced,
and German,
he wanted to introduce her to his uncle, who was Archbishop of the Swedish colony in Germany. He refused to see her.
Really?
Yes. So
and you speak any Swedish at all?
No, I can vaguely understand it. Huh? But my father never spoke Swedish again because they were so furious and wanted to have nothing to do with the family that they even changed the writing of the name.
You have been in the fashion world since
50 years.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. This year.
17
That's my number 5, but 10 times 5.
And are you still amused and interested? Where do you draw that extraordinary energy?
More than ever. Because I know more about it. I never look back. I'm interested in what's going on. I listen, I look, I translate my way. And I think one should first live all the things one should do and try in life, and then one is ready to work seriously.
And so when did you start to work seriously?
Only when I was 30. Before I wasn't serious. And I'm not sure that I'm that serious now. But I can make believe, and in fact I'm very serious when I work. But I try hard not to look serious. Because people who try to look serious and are not serious are the worst. And it's boring, because be correct, but don't look the part.
Well, you certainly don't.
No, I don't want so.
So why do you wear these silver gloves? Because
it's a fashion after the rings, and also, you know, I have to shake hands so often during the day that, especially in the summer, people have wet hands.
That's true.
So I prefer not. And you know, normally if you wear gloves and they are not cut, you have to remove them. Old protocol says that gloves with cut fingers can be kept.
So it's not a Howard Hughes sort of mania.
No way. It's a fashion like another, huh? Because we to promote the people of the glove factory, huh? But it's a joke in the same time. But I think it's fun. No, you don't think so?
Yes, it is fun.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
a little bit threatening. You know, it looks like one of those.
Yeah, but you know, when we had this big opening of Chanel in the Met in the early days of May, we were standing with Anna Wintour of American Vogue and Nicole Kidman in the reception line, and I had my gloves. And I think they had too much emotion seeing Nicole, that Nicole said to me, "You don't have another pair of gloves? They all have wet fingers."
Yeah, that's true. What a success.
Unbelievable.
The American press, I mean the world press, has been extraordinary and enthusiastic about the show at the Metropolitan Museum.
The show is very beautiful. It's not because I was involved. I was involved less than people say. I only had suggested Olivier Saillard from the museum here, who is genius for that, and a girl who is genius for the lights, because old clothes alone are just old materials, so some life was needed. The space given was not genius, so it had to be used properly. And I think they did a really great job. You know, that is the most successful show they had for 20 years. Normally a catalogue sells 5,000 times. We are up to 70,000.
You have indeed given life and blood to Chanel.
Yes, but
Chanel is one of the very, very few names in fashion and art which is still very much alive. And you've been with Chanel for what, 23 years?
23 years. Yes, also, you know, first of all, Chanel belongs to very clever people. They have no shareholders. We can do what we want.
The Wertheimer family.
Exactly, who are divine. So that makes a big difference too. Chanel died in 1971. In 71, she was not the trendiest thing in the world.
She was what, 86?
Yes, it's not a question of age. It's a question of, she had taken a statement saying, no miniskirt is ugly, no pants in the city, it's ugly. She was the first to have pants in the south of France, and for sport she said no pants. And all her positions became ridiculous. So only a certain kind of bourgeois still dressed like this. But the younger people wanted jeans and miniskirts then. So she was totally out of fashion. Then when she died, they wanted to continue the business, what is a good thing, but that was only then a small couture house and the perfume business. But although that was vaguely on the border of the Sleeping Beauty. Then they tried to make ready to wear, but always with the idea respect. You know, if you want to kill something, you use that word, because that's so boring that didn't work. So after 10 years or 11 years of respect, they found out that something a little, I don't know, funnier was needed, and they asked me. And I said to them, I see it this way. If you see it that way, it's okay with me. If not, you forget about it.
But
and they saw it that way.
But you saw it in a way which was respectful of her, of Coco Chanel's genius, but adapted to contemporary times.
You know, don't forget, Chanel did completely different things in the teens with her sportswear. Now sportswear is different because the sports are different, the materials are different. In the 20s, her dresses are typical for the 20s, not for what you think Chanel was. Her suits look different then. You know, in the 20s, she was known as the queen of the beige. Right. Now it's Armani, not the queen, but the beige. So that already is ridiculous. Then she was the first to do little black dresses for daytime, because normally evening dresses could be black or morning, but not something you wear in daily life. It was not, she was the first to do that in that way. But Jean Patou did it too, but he didn't survive. What she did in the 30s is completely different again. She did very feminine, very romantic dresses, nothing to do what she did in the 20s, because the 30s were different. So forget about it and make something else that in the same time enlarged her style, because people think she did all that in the same time all her life. No, she didn't.
But looking at your work under the Chanel brand, you have been able to pursue some of her very different styles, and yet imprint your own.
Yes,
and that's very rare.
No, but you know, I enlarged the idea of what Chanel was about.
And what was she about?
I used the symbols in different ways, and I enlarged everything, and by doing that,
like
the range became
everything,
the flowers, everything. I made them huge or too tiny. The quilt, now we made, after 50 years, we did the old one again. But if you say old, it was very funny. Next to what was around for the last 25 years, has nothing to do. But that's what I like about it, you know. My job is to make believe this is. And in fact it is. It's that of the moment. But it's certainly not some flea market stuff recycled, because this I'm very much against.
But at the same time, you do design work for Fendi.
Yes.
Actually, you're leaving for Rome in a short while.
Exactly, and I do my own thing in America now. Huh?
And you do, of course, the L Gallery, which has been bought by the American
by the group, the whole group. Huh? Yes, and now we do it all in America. Huh? Because I like the idea, New York, Paris, Italy, Rome or Milano, because you show in Milano, you don't show in Rome. Huh?
Yes, but at the same time, under these different brands, you have very different styles.
Yes, exactly.
And yet it's always you. I mean, one feels...
Yeah, the Lagerfeld Gallery sometimes even looks too much like myself. Huh? But in the same time, I'm not mad for men's design because I have a client mentality. I like to buy what others do and put it on my back. So when I design something myself, I'm less impressed. I'm more impressed by menswear. Huh? So for dresses, it's another story.
Is it true?
It's on everybody's lips.
What else do you know?
There are whispers about a rather larger collection. And the less fortunate ones can't quite seem to handle that.
But how did he keep all this under covers?
Has he really? From what I understand, he is making quite a few women very, very pleased. While some are just plain disoriented.
Karl, is it true?
Of course it's true.
But it's cheap.
What a depressing word. It's all about taste. If you are cheap, well, nothing helps.
Now, of course, what came as a shock and was an extraordinary success the world over was your adventure or venture with the Swedes, H&M.
This was the most flattering thing in the world, if you ask me, because I didn't know that I could be that popular with that kind of clients, generations. But you know, when I go on the street...
That's to say, younger women who can't afford to spend...
Yes, but you know, there's also kind of snobism today. You wear very expensive things with a very cheap thing and things like this. But that nobody expected this to disappear in 3 hours. Huh? That had never happened before. I don't know if it will happen again. Not with me, because I should never repeat that. But there I found out that I was finally a name for the street. I found it out again when I went to Tokyo. I found it out in America in the streets. And I had still nearly a strange experience in the night of the music 2 days ago, where I was mobbed in Saint-Germain-des-Prés by nearly 500 people in the street. Huh?
Well, I mean, we can all recognize you.
Yeah, it's my fault, but that's why I am. Huh? But I mean, it's unbelievable. Some throw themselves on the floor, kissing my shoes and things like that. The people I were with, they were scared to death.
But you're an icon.
And the car couldn't come through because there were too many people. Huh? I don't know how that happened, that I survived nearly, huh? That my clothes were still on my back.
But H&M is something else, because it means that with your name, which is a brand in itself, you can actually impress another brand, which is a strong one, but in an entirely different
But the things are well made.
universe.
You know? The things are well made.
They are well made.
They're well made. I mean, what I designed there, I put it on my back and it was flawless. There was nothing to say. Huh? And I don't wear fitted clothes. I hate that. I have to enter what's on the racks. If I don't enter, it's not for me. Huh? Thank God I can enter.
And so it was an absolute riot in
all over the world.
Here in Paris, but also
in New York and wherever it was. That's unbelievable. In Italy, it was nearly dangerous. Huh? There were broken arms and things like that.
And so why wouldn't you do that again?
No, never. This success cannot be repeated. And also, now I want to do that with my name in America on a huge worldwide market. It would be stupid. Huh? Right. They made a lot of money with that. And
yeah, I think their profits went up 24%.
24%, unbelievable. And for me, it shows that I'm usable. I pushed the marionette a lot, but it's not artificial. What you see is me in a way. Huh? It looks like, because you said it's easy to recognize. Of course it's easy to recognize, but it's not my fault that I wear white hair, but I just make a little white. Look, I wear just a jacket and a pair of jeans. I mean, what's eccentric? What is eccentric about me? I think the most, and a white shirt. I mean, what's more normal than me? Because the strange thing are the norms, because people are all the same and don't detach it as other from the crowds. Huh?
No, quite on the contrary, they're afraid to do so.
Yes, I'm not afraid. And, you know, I would go to the most dangerous area, the famous Cité. I have no feeling of fear. You don't know how nice those people are with me. Because I'm not for them a bourgeois. I'm not part of the world who uses the poor workers and things like that. I'm something, I don't sing, I'm not an actor, but something very special apparently, what I cannot analyze, but in a way that has nothing to do with what I'm doing in life. And I think that is a personal success in a way too. I had the reputation of being the meanest, but maybe I mean to the chic and snobbish crowds, but not to them. And this, I think, is a big success, if you ask me.
We'll be back with Karl Lagerfeld. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We're here in Paris with Karl Lagerfeld. Tell me, is it true that in your apartments here in Paris, not far from here, you still have kept your room and bed and desk?
Yes, yeah, but it's in New York now. It's in New York now. Yes,
it's in New York.
I bought a place in New York and put it there because, in a way, New York is more German than France. German furniture from that period look more normal in New York than in Paris. It's very strange, huh? Because I have my bedroom furniture and the desk where I started to write, to sketch and to read and all that. They're a little tiny for me, but for a guest room it's okay. Yeah? And they're very cute, a kind of early Biedermeier. And then I had a collection of German furniture from 1910, 1914, the first modern furniture made by people by Bruno Paul and things like this. And this works much better in New York because all the architects of that period were German there.
That's true, and many of them, of course, went after.
So, in fact, the connection with Germany, New York is stronger than with Germany, Paris, because in France there was another strong taste in the sense of elegance, but it's very different from that. So, all the expressionist thing and all the German art deco, I sent it all to New York.
You still feel very German?
I feel
in your culture?
European.
European.
In fact, even more than that, because I feel at home in America too. And the only family I have are the all American, because my sister is married in America and left Europe over 40 years ago. And my father had two brothers who married American women and lived in America. So in fact, in Germany I have no family.
So, but you lived your childhood during World War II?
Yeah, but only 14 years.
14 years, but 14 years?
Yeah.
I mean, World War II in Germany, of course you were near the Danish border.
Yeah, but I saw nothing from that. Nothing happened where I was. Huh? I always was lucky to escape. Huh?
And so did your parents, because your father was,
yes,
I guess,
but my
too
father
old to be
my father,
drafted?
he had business in France too and kept them through the war and even after, because he had American business partners and he brought all this to the war years and all that.
Yes, he made a fortune out of powder milk.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, it wasn't powder, it was condensed milk then.
Condensed milk.
The powder came later. But you know, in periods like wars and things like this, it was very, very important to have milk because they had not so many ice boxes like they have now. The thing was different. And you know, the funny thing is, my father lived in Vladivostok before World War I. My father would be 125 now. He lived in Vladivostok and he had a business with his brother in San Francisco and another one in LA. They imported condensed milk, what was new then, to Russia for the winter. But in 1917, all the strangers were told to go home, so he had to go back to Europe. So he came to Hamburg because Hamburg was the only city in the north of Europe with a Swedish Catholic colony, so he went back there. And there were big food problems in the cities, because there was no transportation. It's not like today. Those iced trucks didn't exist. And in France it was the same problem. So he started to import that from America. But the stupid Germans, and I must say the stupid French too, refused American milk. You see, the anti-Americanism is not something new. Even if they helped them out of the World War #1 and #2 too. So he said, if they are that stupid, he removed the paper and made a French name on it and a German name.
And it worked.
And it worked that well that he finally took licensing and built factories in France and in Germany. That's how it happened. And as long as he was alive and before he sold all the things to Nestle, he had 57% of the national European market. What's a lot.
And how?
Yeah, but he lived only for that.
Your father was an extraordinary man.
He's a businessman and he spoke 9 languages. I only speak 4.
But your mother was, what a woman. She was,
yes, from another area, those people. Huh?
Very eccentric.
Yes.
But in the mood of her times, in a way.
In the mood of her times. It was a woman from the 20s in Berlin and things like this. It's difficult for us to imagine that. But I thought that only my parents were great and that all the other children had shitty parents. I thought I wanted only to be like my parents.
And yet you left them at age 13 because you wanted to
Yeah,
come
but
to
my
Paris.
mother told me, he has nothing to do. Hamburg is for... Germany is dead since 1933, so you better get out of here, huh?
And you still relate to Germany? Because you said some
No,
terrible
the
things
Germany
about
I
Berlin,
relate to
I
is a
remember.
Germany nobody knows. Because when I was a child, I was told that the greatest German were Walter Rathenau, the Count Kessler, and all those people. Who knows today who was the Count Kessler, who was Walter Rathenau? You know, Walter Rathenau was the Minister of Foreign Affairs and he was the first killed by the Nazis in his car, but he was also a great writer, and his family owned AEG, what is the biggest electricity, like EDF in France. But he was great. And the Count Kessler is the one who introduced all the French art in Germany before World War I, and he made the Institute Nietzsche in Weimar, and he is a beginner before all the other ones of the Bauhaus. He built the first Bauhaus in 1907 with Van der Velde.
But you are a highly cultured man and
One has to, but it's
an
not...
avid collector.
Yes, but
Or have been. You have what? A library?
Yes, my library is a problem. I have to...
230,000 books?
It's true. Yes, it's true. It's unbelievable, huh? In 4 languages. One day I have to take a decision where that can go one day, because it's huge. Huh?
A foundation.
Yeah, I hate foundation. Foundation is something from the
dead.
beauty industry. Huh? Foundation is what people put on their face. Huh? I hate... Everybody's into foundations today. I hate the idea of foundation.
It's very American.
No, it should be some public library, I don't know where, because everything interesting, or interesting for me, what was published in the last 40 years I bought. Huh? In terms of art, architecture, photography, movie, everything. So I can tell you, the library is quite stunning. The novels and things like this too, but that's more basic because I read a lot, but I'm not a collector of that books the same way. I mean, I have the classics and things like that in English and German and French and all that. And I buy things, but I don't always keep them. Because
But you also had a lot of extraordinary furniture.
so I sold a lot of
Which
that.
you decided to sell.
Yeah.
Why? Because at one point in your life you thought,
become a curator at home, and also, you know, you feel, I don't know, it gives a very strange feeling. You have the feeling it's a lack of freedom. Owning is in fact
You
a lack of
become
freedom.
embarrassed.
But to know that, you have to own first. That is like if people, I don't like money. Have some first, and if you don't like it, give it away. Normally people who say that, when they have it, they don't give it away.
No, but then money hasn't been a problem for you.
No,
Never.
no,
I mean,
it's not a
you
subject.
were born into a rich
but
family.
you know, people
and
from
you-
the cities of the Hansa, like Hamburg, never talk about money. They don't talk about 2 things, health and money. Fitness is as boring as sickness, but now people talk about those things as they talk about money
Talking
too.
about fitness, you lost about what, 42 kilos
Yes, yes,
in a year.
yeah.
And of course, as you like to do, you immediately published a book with the
Yes, because the doctor
nutritionist who-
wanted it, absolutely. I did it
And
not
it
to
became
please-
an immediate hit, of course.
It's all over the world. I've been saying all over the world.
The
we sold
Lagerfeld diet.
Yes, the 3-dimensional diet. We sold over 1 million copies all over the world. But for me, it's when I do no promotion anymore, nothing, because this person in the book, I don't know who that is. I don't remember. And now, for all my new houses, except the one in New York, I want only furniture what had not existed before the year 2000. Because, you know...
You have an extraordinary house in Biarritz, designed
yes,
by
but
the Japanese architect
yes,
Tadeo
but
Ando.
that one finally was never made.
But
it's like
you
the foundation from
but
Pinot. But
they
I
were
built another one
drawings.
myself, and I have the main house, but it's all done by Jean-Michel Franck. So it's too chic also from another area that I don't want, or I don't know, be sure I want to keep it. Because it's tracked in the past. It's a way back. In my situation, you have to go ahead. You don't have to look back. Whatever I did or other did is okay, but I like the next step. And the good thing in fashion is 6 months, 6 months, 6 months. I don't have no idea what
and
we
6 months ahead.
Yes, oh yes, but it's very good. Huh? It's a kind of fortune teller, visual fortune teller life.
But at the same time, you were extraordinarily organized. I remember at your home that you have 3 tables, 3 very, very large tables.
Huge. I like only
one for
10.
English,
Yes.
one for German,
Yes, exactly.
one for French.
Yes.
And in fact, you organize your work according to the culture that you want to move into.
Yes, I want to know everything, but I think to be like a computer and to be terribly informed, it's very important also because Goethe had said this famous line, to make a better future with the enlarged element of the past. I think to go ahead, you have to know the past, but you don't have to live in the past. That's not healthy. When people say, oh, the good old days, I said, maybe
Yeah,
for
what
you.
good old
I'm pretty pleased with my days of today. Eh? I hardly see people I knew when I was young. 1 or 2. The others, or they disappeared, or they died, or they became rich and boring.
But at the same time, people around you, your staff, people who work with you, tend to stay forever.
Yes, because I'm not as horrible as people may think. Huh?
No, and also because when you select people or when you find people
Yes.
that you get along with,
Yes, exactly. I hate change, but they have to follow times. Huh? Sometimes, especially the men, they had become bigger than that, and they think they're so much better than I am. But it helped nobody, nowhere, because without me, they never proved that they were that great.
Yes,
because somebody who stays an assistant for 20 years may not be made for the front row or for the head of the battlefield. Huh?
Yeah, and you have a very acerbic tongue at
Yes.
times.
Yes.
I mean, you can bite as well.
Yes, exactly, yes. That's a good thing, no?
At times.
Yes.
I agree.
It works for me. And as I know only one subject is me, so what can I do? Huh?
You're so well organized that I understand you love music as well.
Yes.
And you have what, 70 iPods?
Yes.
Oh, and each iPod is devoted to a certain type
No,
of music?
because there's too much music for that. When the iPods came, I put all my CDs on iPod, from everything. You know, there's a huge collection of Baroque music. Because in the early days of CDs, they thought it would be the hit with classic music. In fact, it does not sell that much. But then they produced unbelievable things never taped before. So I have all that. So I think I must have 25 iPods with Baroque music, huh? With 5,000 people each. And I like very strange things. My favorite opera is Artiste from Lully. And one of my favorite music is Swedish funeral music from the 18th century. Who knows about that?
Oh,
William
the
Christie.
Swedes who are listening to you right now.
Yes. But I mean, in France, I only met William Christie, who knows about it. Huh?
Yeah,
if not,
that's
no.
true.
And also, you know, I spent my childhood with music in a way that I should hate music, because my mother was a very good violinist. She was never professional because I was too lazy for that, but she was very gifted, apparently. I don't know. She had worked as a young woman with Hindemith and his brother, and got a marvelous violin when she was 12, because apparently she was so gifted. And when I was a child, and then she was already in her 40s and late 40s, she continued to play, and I had to turn the pages. And then there was worse. In those days, the records were pretty short. So she had quatuors and concertos, where every music was on except the violin, and she played into that. So I had to turn all those CDs. So the other night I went to this concert for peace and science in UNESCO, and they played something from Mendelssohn, but my mother had played all. I mean, there was not one note after half a century what didn't come back in an unbelievable way. I mean, and I'm not sure I had listened that often to that piece since. Huh? And I'm very jealous of people who are gifted for music, because I have no gift. Huh? I'm very jealous of people who play.
Did your mother, was your mother unhappy about that?
No, she couldn't care less. I had piano lesson for 1 year, and she had hoped I could play with her, but she said, "You are ungifted, sketch, less noise, finished." And one day, I was perhaps 12 years old, or not even, she stopped playing the violin. And when I asked, why don't you play anymore? She said, none of your business. And then she added, anyway, you told me I looked ugly when I played the violon, so maybe I stopped because of that. Because it's not very beautiful when a woman does that. Huh?
No,
and we laughed always because her long earrings moved with the violon. Huh? And she made a very serious face then, because she was very serious about it.
But you're also very serious, and you're very serious, you have become very serious about photography.
Yes, but I don't want to look like somebody who is very serious about it.
No,
but it has to be,
you do very serious
seriousness
work.
is like being politically correct. Be, but don't bother the rest of the world with that. Huh? Be correct, but don't only make believe, and then you are not. We know many people who are like this. Huh?
We certainly
they
do.
They talk, and by the simple fact that they talk, they think they don't have to act that way. Huh? The list is long, and you know it as well as I do.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
We'll be back with Karl Lagerfeld. Please stay with us. Welcome back. We're here in Paris with Karl Lagerfeld. Karl, you seem to have, contrary to your nickname, Kaiser, the Kaiser of fashion,
when this nickname was given to me, I wasn't sure.
It's not a good nickname at all.
It's not a compliment, I think. If you
no,
think
especially in France.
Yes, because then it's Guillaume II, who was not really...
Yeah, not particularly popular.
It's not Charlemagne they talk about. Huh?
No,
it's this Orwell Guillaume. But this is a name I got already 25 years ago, so it doesn't bother me. Better a nickname than no name.
True. But what you have showed all over these years is that you have an extraordinary flair for what is about to happen. For trends which are going to express themselves in whatever way, and not necessarily in fashion. So
no.
Where does that instinct stem from?
Civilized fortune telling. That's what I would say. No, I have a strange feeling for things what I don't try to put in names or put words on it how it happens. But the good thing, it happens. But don't ask me how and why. I know nothing about it, and I don't.
And you're not interested.
I think it's very dangerous to find out. You know, instincts are instinct. Don't try to analyze them, you know. No. Huh? You have to do with it. It works, it doesn't work, but no questions, only answers.
But was there ever a time in your life where you felt that you were getting out of touch, or that somehow you were bored?
The minute you feel you are out of touch, you have time to get back where you should be. I mean, you know, I always had a kind of outside relationship with my own person. Here I am, and he is the one who manipulates the person. So I was never that involved, you know. It's like Caligari, you know, the man in black, and who is sent, the medium, who is sent by the mean old man from his house, so from this hospital.
And right now, who are you? Are you the manipulator, or are you the...
You know, for the outside world, it's one thing, but I don't manipulate other people, I manipulate myself. So it's not exactly the same thing. One is allowed to have a cold, distant look at your own person. I think boredom is a crime. If you are bored, that means you are boring. There are so many things to know, to see, to learn, to read. That if you are bored, there's a problem with you. I don't say it for you, but generally. I hate boring people. And normally boring people say, oh, that's boring. I'm not an entertainer. I don't have to make laugh boring people. If they are boring, they can stay boring. It's not my problem. I must admit I was never bored in my life because I never had enough time, that's why I'm late all the time, to do everything I want to do, to know, to see, to hear, and everything. So I think it's a crime you do to yourself when you admit that you are bored. When you admit you are bored, that means you're an idiot.
But it also means that you have an appetite for things not only new, but things which might...
I want to know everything. My dream would be to speak 10 languages, 15 languages. I want to know everything, even in areas what has nothing to do with what I'm doing. I think it's very, very interesting what other people do. In what area it is, I want to know everything. I want to be informed. But I don't have a computer. I don't have a cell phone. I have nothing of that.
Why? You don't want to be invaded?
Exactly. I'm not a chambermaid in a hotel during the season. Number 23 wants a breakfast and we do the beds in 27. No.
But that's because you have people to do that for you.
Maybe, I don't know. I like faxes. I like letters. I have, thank God, people who can bring the letters to the people. Telephone is something what invades people. I don't know what they are doing when I call them. Perhaps they have other things to do. It happened to me that I'm in a bathtub when the telephone rings. Even this morning I still had a disaster because I had started to put the water in the bathtub. The phone was ringing and I stayed too long, thinking it was a shorter time and it was too long. When I came, there was an ecological disaster in my bathroom.
Oh, good. So such things happen to you too?
Yes, of course. Why? You think I'm not human?
That's reassuring.
You think I'm not human? I'm beyond human. You will never find somebody more down to earth than me. I'm the most down to earth person you can imagine, and I like that.
You obviously make heaps of money, but somehow you don't give the impression to be interested in accumulating money.
No, I'm not interested at all. Money is something you have to spend that provides jobs. That's very good. The kind of goods I make are things people should buy, spend, because the people who make those things...
But you never stop. I mean, not only do you have Chanel and Fendi and Elle Gallery and so on, but you have done stuff for Dom Pérignon, the champagne,
yes,
you have done stuff for
You're very
Adidas,
well
you've done stuff
exactly.
for an Italian skiing...
Yes, for everything, everything. I love that, and because it's very interesting.
Because it's diverse, because it's...
I don't even take money for that. Most of it goes to, I don't know where. It's not even a problem. I like it doing for doing. I love advertising. And I'm in fashion, but I don't hate the idea of being in advertising either. I think it's great. I don't want to make movies because I'm a visual person. I'm an image person. Because in the beginning I wanted to become an illustrator, a cartoon artist, and a portrait artist. Portraits I do with the photo. Cartoons, I'm quite good, but you know, if you want to make animes, you make cartoons.
That's for sure.
I'm pretty good on that. So, and illustration and things like this, I do sometimes. I made a children's book for charities and things like this, but I don't have so much time. But I love to do that. Look, you will look at the Chanel catalog. I made it completely in a new technique, what is a mix of computer, photography, and paint. But the way I do that...
Yes, and then you get very,
yes, but the way I paint, computer
extraordinary
cannot
shades.
do that. And they tried, the people who made the catalog, to print that without me doing it first by hand, and it wasn't possible. And I was very pleased to see that the human hand can be still used for something machines cannot do yet, even if it's a silly thing like this. That was very flattering.
What are you going to do tomorrow? Do you know, or do you improvise?
I only improvise. But that's why I'm late all the time. I live on improvisation. I hate to have appointments ages before it happens. Last night's dinner, that was a very small dinner with 10 or 15 persons, I don't know. I was told a month ahead. Of course, a month ahead, one is free. But the day it arrives, I'm not sure. I had a zillion of other things what had happened then. That's why it happened, what happened to you, happened to everybody, happened to myself. I'm never furious when people are late because I have so many things to do that I can be busy. It doesn't bother me. Some people are bothered by it. And then I said to myself, the day they don't wait anymore, maybe I have to stop. And I can finally read all the books I had no time to read, do all the sketches I want to make and do something like this. So that's also a very pleasant perspective.
And you do that alone?
What do you mean alone? What do you call it alone? Of course I do. I believe only in a certain kind of loneliness. But loneliness is an horrible word if you're poor, sick, and old. But if you fight to be alone, it's a completely different story. If you have
it's
to
a victory.
fight, yeah, exactly. If you have to fight to have time for yourself, because for me the top of luxury is daydreaming, not looking at my watch. I hardly look. I'm short-sighted, but I do sometimes. And to have free time. I only work well when I don't have to look at my watch. That's why I wait sometimes at 10 o'clock in the evening and start to work then, because then nobody will disturb me. Or to get up at 5 in the morning. One of the things I never liked in this part of Europe is that in the summer and even the day starts at late. I like only early morning. It's very strange.
Early dawn.
Early dawn. In Rome it starts earlier because they are more east. No? But here, for me, it's always too late in the summer, the morning. I like to get up at 5, and I like nothing more than the light of the early morning.
In our time, there has been another grand figure of couture, and that was Yves Saint Laurent, whom you met when you were both very, very young.
17 or something like that.
And looking at the very different ways that you have conducted your life, and indeed your work, as opposed to his.
I prefer mine, if you ask me. I have more freedom, and I don't think I'm a victim. And also, you know, I never had a kind of Pierre Berger who was organizing my life.
No
and
mentor.
then he was in one label. I always was a free person going what he calls being a mercenaire, but I'm flattered to be a mercenaire. I like the idea. I always wanted to be free. I don't care about my name over the door. It happened by accident. For me, it's interesting to do the job, whatever the job is, in whatever conditions, as long as those conditions are right with me. So, I don't know, but look what happened to him, because he isn't sick. He lived in a way that there is a bill one day you have to pay. Let's say it nicely. Huh? So he must be bored to death, I don't know. It's not really, I'm interested in that. As he said, I never see people from my generation. Huh? But others survived quite well, like Armani, Oscar La Renta, they survived pretty well. But I mean Valentino, and I'm in good terms with them, but they have other lives. It's different. Huh? I have very little to say to them. Huh? But it's okay, but it's another planet. Huh?
You live in 3 different cultures.
Yes, but you know, that's very pleasant. Huh? I always think how boring it must be if you can only live with one language. I hate the idea.
And you have also catered to very different types of women, at least for the Chanel.
Yes, but
you've gone from Inès de la Fressange, typically French, to
exactly.
Claudia.
Yes, and now
Schiffer.
to the divine Daria. Huh?
That's the latest.
Yes, who is the most divine girl of the moment. The personality is the style, because the look is not enough. There has to be a little more, and nothing is for the moment better than Daria. Huh? And the actresses too, like Selma Blair, you see over there. I just did a few days ago. Nicole Kidman. I think it's very interesting because they are the women of their period. Huh?
Yes.
Ines was genius in her days. After that, she talked too much.
Yes, and you quarreled. Tell me, what is your favorite word, at least in English? And is it the same in every language?
Tomorrow.
And in
next
French?
day, next step.
In French?
Everything what I don't know yet. Huh? Everything with what has still a question mark.
Is it the same word in French?
I don't know if you should see things that way in France. I don't know. Don't ask this kind of questions. I don't know. Huh? Demain doesn't sound as good as tomorrow. It's more banal. But there are other good words. Huh? But for me, I love French, but I like the language from another area. I'm not so crazy for modern French. Huh?
And what about German? What would
German
be
I hate. The German of today I hate. The German I like is the German from around 1910, things like this, you see. Huh? People like Tucholsky and things like this kind. Rilke is for me the most beautiful German you cannot translate. Huh? Unbelievable. But this is the most sophisticated a language can get. Hugo von Hofmannsthal, Rilke and things like this. Even Heinrich George, but even if I'm not too crazy for him. But in terms of words, you see. But what I like about languages is words. I love words.
So?
What the word can represent, how you can use it, how you can play with it. Huh? And you speak only a language vaguely well. I have a strange accent in English and German and French and Italian, whatever I say, because it's my way of talking was strange. But I love to make dirty jokes in all those languages too, and word games. Because you only speak a language vaguely well when you can make quick word games. Huh? And this I love.
So that will be for our next meeting. Karl Lagerfeld, thank you very much.
Thank you.